Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings to you all. I know it's been a minute since I uploaded my last video, but I did want to make sure that I got this one uploaded before the month ended here, because it is going to be related to Halloween. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I got this done. It's going to be a quick little additional watch list for Halloween, closing out the spooky season strong, if you will. So first, if you could like, share, subscribe the video, I would definitely appreciate that for sure. And then if you could also check out the written blog. The link for that is going to be below in the description, so you can definitely check that out. And in this case, I would say if you are looking for a couple of movies to kind of watch here for the close in the Halloween season, a couple of scary movies and psychological thrillers and whatnot. If you were looking for some material to do that, if you're thinking about having a movie night, something like that, there are actually two watch lists that you can refer to that are on the written blog. They are, I believe, my two most recent posts on there, so you can definitely go and check that out as well. If that's something that you're thinking about. And I was thinking about making another post, writing some things out as far as recommending even more movies, because I did 6 apiece, I think, on the 2 watch lists. Well, actually, technically, like, it's 1 watch list, and then there's another one where I listed some of my kind of underrated favorite horror movies or psychological thrillers. But you could treat that like a watch list as well. But yeah, I put 6 different entries on there, and then another 6, so 6 apiece. And I wanted to come and just give 3 more movies if you're interested in checking those out. So the first here that I'm going to be talking about quickly is going to be Behind the Mask. So the rise of Leslie Vernon. So this is a very underrated horror flick, and if you're somebody that likes slasher movies or is familiar kind of with the genre, I think you will very much enjoy it. It's a mockumentary, basically like a documentary style film. It's about a guy who is actually in the process of trying to cement his legend as like a serial killer. So in this world that the film is occupied in, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, they are real life figures. Like, they are guys who exist within this world, and their exploits are kind of known and are, prime campfire stories, right? Like, people know about these things. And he is looking to put himself in that class, put himself in that upper echelon, if you will, of like serial killers. And throughout the movie, he breaks down like the things that he's going to do to build his legend up, and kind of the different tricks of the trade, if you will, for serial killers. And I don't like to use the word excellent a lot as far as describing movies, because I think it maybe gets tossed around a little bit too much. But I think that movie is excellent. I think it's funny. I think it is just kind of jam-packed full of these comical looks at different cliches and tropes, and it's also got a lot of references to other horror movies as well. And I think it's a pretty good, just a great time overall. I would say the horror aspect in it, quote unquote, the horror in it is a little lacking, which can kind of happen when you're kind of undercutting the tension and things like that with comedy. That tends to happen, but I still think overall it's a great time, and I think you should check that out. Okay, and so the next one here is going to be a movie that came out a few years back, and I think it's kind of underrated as far as you know, in the grand scheme of things here, and that's going to be 10 Cloverfield Lane. Now, of course, 10 Cloverfield Lane is, I believe, J.J. Abrams himself is even quoted as being kind of like the spiritual successor to the first Cloverfield movie. So it's a movie that's not a direct sequel per se to Cloverfield. If you haven't seen Cloverfield, the first Cloverfield, which was like this found footage style monster movie, essentially, and this is like a follow up or almost kind of like a spin off that takes place kind of within that same world, but it's not one that if you haven't seen Cloverfield, it's not required viewing to enjoy this one and to check it out. And essentially, what's happening in this film is there is a young woman that is played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is in a car accident, like she has a car crash, and she wakes up in this bunker, like in the survivalist bunker. And the guy who has her there, which is the character is played by John Goodman, has basically told her, like, not only did I save your life from that car crash, but you're not allowed to leave this bunker because at basically like an extinction level event has happened outside. So it's like outside of these walls, the air is contaminated. You cannot leave. Like this is where you're going to be spending the duration of your days, at least until like we know that it's safe. And so the movie plays out really as this kind of very tense psychological thriller, where she's kind of coming to terms with everything that's going on, like with what John Goodman's character is telling her, and just trying to see like how authentic that may be, and yeah, and I think it's another great time, and like I said, if you haven't seen the previous Cloverfield movie, you don't really have to get sucked into what's going on. It's really engrossing, kind of in its own right. So I think that that's enjoyable as well. And then we also have, lastly here, Tales from the Darkside, the movie. So if you're in a similar age group as me, you may remember TV show that used to come on, syndicated TV show, came on a lot, especially if you used to watch Sci-Fi Channel back in the day. It was Tales from the Darkside. So Tales from the Darkside was this anthology TV show, kind of in the vein similar to Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, somewhat. Like it was not as, and it was a precursor to kind of like Tales from the Crypt. And Tales from the Darkside, it wasn't as hard edge as Tales from the Crypt. Like it wasn't as graphically violent or kind of raunchy as Tales from the Crypt could be at different times, but it was similar format. Like there was usually these situations playing out with people with it, and there was a dark twist to it at the end, or or kind of a fantasy or science fiction element going on. And Tales from the Darkside, the movie, keeps kind of that same format, so it's like this anthology horror movie. And speaking of spiritual successors, so we were talking about that with Cloverfield, and 10 Cloverfield Lane. Tales from the Darkside, the movie, is kind of a spiritual successor to Creepshow, which is a movie I've talked about on my blog before. So it is still one of the best horror anthology movies around. And then it had a sequel, so there's a Creepshow 2, and then there was never a 3. But this movie almost kind of fashions itself as being Creepshow 3. Like it's kind of on a similar wavelength. And yep, it's a horror anthology flick, and it's got three different horror stories, and then it has a wraparound story as well. So it has one story that's tying them all together. Um, and the first one is about a mummy. Yep, it's a mummy, resurrected mummy. Second one is about a cat, a particularly vicious cat. I know that doesn't sound too scary, but if you watch it, you'll see what that's all about. And then the third one, which is probably the best story out of all three of them, especially from just kind of a narrative standpoint, the way it unfolds. The third story is about a gargoyle, and it's another movie I think is kind of a great time. Um, it kind of gets in and gets out of the way because there are some anthology horror movies that you'll watch that are a little bit longer than this one, have more stories. Even like Creepshow itself, there are like 5 different basically short films in it, and it's like 2 hours long. Like this one kind of gets in, gets the job done, gets out the way. So I think that's another fun watch that you guys could probably check out this Halloween season. Yeah, but that's gonna kind of be it for me. So those are, like I said, 3 more movies to check out here before or whenever. I was gonna say, if you want to check them out before spooky season ends, before Halloween hits here, you can definitely do that. If not, you can check them out anytime. Um, and I will say the the other 2 movies, 10 Cloverfield Lane right now is available for free on IMDb TV, and you could also get it on Prime Video if you got Prime Video, or if you own it, then whatever already. And then Tales from the Darkside, the movie, is available on Pluto TV, which is another free app if you do have like a smart TV or something like that. You can download that for free, Pluto TV, and it's on there. You can check it out, or Amazon Prime Video as well, or any other streaming platform where you can rent 5 videos, I would assume. And then the the Rise of Leslie Vernon, so Behind the Mask, you can get that on Amazon Prime Video as well. And with that one, not that I'm necessarily condoning this, and I think everybody should kind of approach things by the books for movies as far as purchasing them, renting them, and everything like that. But that movie, you can actually find it out there if you search for it. So I won't say necessarily where, but if you type that movie in to one of the most common places to probably search for a movie, you will find it on there for free. So I'm just throwing that out there. But thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Again, share, subscribe. I would definitely appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.